find you in the end, Stephen.
You won't find me.
Up and down the UK, we see Britain's most resilient High Court enforcement agents
Back away from me. Back away.
under pressure,
There could be guns up there.
tackling some of the most hard-hitting cases of their careers.
Can I have the police, please?
But whoever they meet, if you can't pay,
You tell me what I should do.
they'll take it away. Personal debt in the UK exceeded £1.5 trillion in 2016, a £53 billion increase since the previous year. This dramatic rise resulted in over 300,000 people seeking advice from a debt charity in the first half of the year alone. Matt Highway and Gary Ball are High Court enforcement agents. They travel all over the West Midlands, recovering debts and seizing goods.
Right, let's go and live the dream, mate, shall we? Let's go and make someone's day.
It's 7 AM and they're in Birmingham to collect nearly £2,000 owed in unpaid parking fines.
So, mate, it's still dark and we're in Northfield. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Let's mix it up, mate.
Yeah, go on.
You ask me where we're going.
Do you know where we're going?
I do, mate, yeah.
You tell
Always
me.
know where we're going.
Go on.
We're going to see a Mr. Stephen Watson
You okay, you got that bit right?
in Northfield.
You got that bit right?
And he owes a few pence under £2,000.
Yeah, it's £1,967.99.
There you go.
If Mr. Watton can't or won't pay, the agents can seize goods and vehicles belonging to him to offset the debt.
With the Fiesta in the drive.
Morning, madam. I was after a Stephen Watton.
Not here.
Not here. Oh, doesn't he? Who are you to him, madam? So who is he to you, madam? Morning, sir, you alright?
He's not here. So you're going to have to leave.
Yeah, who is he though, sir? Who is he?
What do you mean?
To you?
Who is he?
Who is he to you?
It's nobody to us.
Did
You
he?
don't live here.
Are you saying that you're new tenants? Is that what you're saying to us?
Yes.
You don't live here.
So he's not here at the moment? Or he's a previous tenant?
No, you don't,
All right.
you don't live here.
Well, High Court enforcement agents are here with a High Court writ today. And Mr. Watton be contacted?
No, because, like I said, we don't know who he is.
If you work with us, then we can work with you.
He used to live here.
Either
We
we...
used to do that, they were getting somewhere. When we first turn up on a job, all we got to go on is a name, an address, and the amount we're there to collect. So we do have to think on our feet when we get there, you know, asking lots of questions. We have to dig down and, you know, try and find the person we're looking for. But I think me and Matt, you know, work well together, we're a good team, and 9 out of 10 times you do get the outcome that we both want.
After claiming not to know the debtor, the man now says that Mr. Watton was a previous tenant. But the agents need proof that he no longer lives there.
Have you got a council tax bill or a tenancy agreement we can have a look at to prove he doesn't live here?
Oh,
No.
you didn't bang at the door early hours in the morning, yeah.
Didn't bang on it, sir. We just knocked on it.
Might want to speak to us now. I'm going to get my mate out the car then.
Okay. Mate, it's called Mr. London Triangle, and he's going to put it on the car now.
There's a possibility that one of the men may in fact be the debtor, Stephen Watton, and the cars outside could be his. The agents act fast to secure them.
Just watch the door, mate.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, we're going to get situations where people deny that the defendant lives at the property. You You know, we can only converse up to a level. If conversation stops, then we try the action technique. The second the clamp comes out the back of the van, and suddenly, you know, the whole house lights up.
Matt's actions haven't gone unnoticed.
Oi, get hands off me, bro. You ain't taking that, buff. I've got paperwork to prove that's not his, buff.
Go and get the paperwork. Move back.
Yo, get off me.
Move back.
Yo, you need to watch yourself, you know. You need to watch yourself.
So if you're going to get silly, we're going to get the police in and get you arrested, alright?
Please, check the reg on that car. Check
Guys,
the
if
reg
you wanted
on
to
the
work with
car.
us, you could have worked with us.
The car. I'll cut that off. I'll cut that off. I'll cut that off. I'll cut it off, buff. I ain't bothered. You need to get off the profit. Profit here, innit?
Excuse me.
Listen,
Yeah, go on, yeah, I'm listening to you. Go on.
We don't know where they live.
Okay.
I don't know where they are.
We have asked you for a tenancy agreement or a council tax
bill.
bill.
No, I've locked
Tenancy
myself right
agreement?
now, you know.
People get aggressive and insult us as their way of dealing with the situation. They might think if they do threaten us enough, then we'll leave. We're not going to leave. We're there to do a job. Whether you threaten us, whether you threaten our family, we're still going to be there and we're still going to do the job.
The men are not telling the agents who they are, but Matt still suspects one of them could be the debtor. So he increases the pressure and clamps the second car in the driveway.
Back away
Back away from me.
Go take the kids to
Back
school. This is my
away
car.
from me. Back away from me. Move away from me.
Move now.
Move away from me. Move away from me. Move.
Suck him on, straight up, suck him on. No, suck him on.
Right, I'm going to get the police here, mate.
The place here, mate. Move away.
Suck him on.
Move away from me. Move away. Move away from me.
With tensions escalating, Gary and Matt will have to act quickly to prevent the situation turning violent. Matt Highway and Gary Ball were in Birmingham to recover a debt of nearly £2,000 owed by Stephen Wattham in unpaid parking fines. A woman and two men came to the door. They claimed that Stephen Wattham didn't live at the address and obstructed the agents.
You're gonna have to leave.
Matt suspected one of the men was the debtor and clamped both cars in the driveway.
Move away.
Tempers escalated.
Suck him on, straight up, suck him on.
Now, with the situation getting even more confrontational, Gary calls the police.
Hello there, can I have the police, please?
Whatever you are, we'll put it
Whatever, mate. Whatever.
Hello?
I'm really interested in this.
Yeah, we have two High Court enforcement agents, two gentlemen getting a bit violent and a bit shouty with us. We're executing a High Court writ.
We'll send an officer when we've got one available.
Thanks very much. Cheers, bye-bye.
Okay, thanks.
The police are on their way, but the men aren't calming down.
It's my car, it's not
Okay.
fucking yours. It's not nobody else's. This house is not rented by him either. Check the council, he's not rented, he's not down as living here. I've got to go take the kids to school, you're going to fucking clamp my car.
Where's the kids?
Down at my baby mum's, that's where they are.
Okay.
You're gonna try fucking
This is not going anywhere.
Put that on there.
You can drive off with that if you like. You'll make a bright mess of your car, though.
People obstructing us, it only makes life more difficult for them, really. I think what they need to remember on that, it is a criminal offence to obstruct me in my duty. People will try that as a deflection, but the end result's still the same.
The agents have been at the property nearly half an hour. Finally, the woman hands Gary her tenancy agreement.
That's what we asked for in the first place, isn't it? That's all we wanted.
I was here 6 years, I exchanged with them, and then I changed back.
You moved back in here how long ago?
Like 4 or 5 months ago.
The woman claims Stephen Wattham moved out several months ago when she exchanged properties with him, and he's not listed on the tenancy agreement. But as addresses are double-checked before a writ is issued, the agents can't be totally sure that the claims of the house exchange are true. Matt and Gary decide to wait for the police to arrive before taking any further action.
Okay.
You're done doing your job now, ain't you?
No, we're not. I'll wait for the police to arrive, okay.
Well, you got your letters, see you later.
We've still got the issue of you obstructing in my duty, haven't we, which is a criminal offence, so we'll have a chat with the police about that.
I've got shit to do. I've got stuff to do. I've got to go take the kids to school.
Well, it's delayed at the moment, unfortunately.
What do you mean delayed at the moment?
Yeah.
That can be taken off my other
They
side.
shouldn't,
As soon as the police
they shouldn't,
get here,
they shouldn't
yeah,
be too
that's
long.
I swear to God.
It's just a crazy way of going about things, isn't it?
I know. He's off on his morning run now.
But then, one of the young men disappears down the street. While they wait for the police, Matt looks for any clues as to the ownership of the cars. But he's in for a surprise.
On the rear passenger footwell. Wrapped up in a towel. It's the sort of things we have to be aware of when we're doing our job. No other tools, like no screwdriver or spanners or socket set or anything, just a lump hammer.
Minutes later, the young man returns, followed by another man.
What are you doing here? Who are you looking for?
Hello, sir. Who are you, sorry?
You're looking for Stephen Watton?
Yes, sir.
That's me. Why are you here?
Oh, great stuff. OK, smashing.
The agents finally have the man they were looking for.
So you're Mr. Stephen Watton?
I am, yes.
So there's a High Court writ outstanding for you.
That's right. Well, I'm not paying it, that's the whole point.
Mr. Watton immediately denies responsibility for the unpaid parking tickets.
I had a Jaguar a very long time ago.
Yeah.
I sold the Jag. A year afterwards, I got the first ticket through. And a few days later, another one come through. Another one come through. I think I ended up with a pile of them, about fucking 50 or 60 of the fucking things.
But they're still found in favour of the claimants.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, obviously that's why we're here.
So where do you live now then, Stephen?
Yeah, I live up the road.
Yeah, what's the address?
I don't need to give you that door.
You don't?
Do you know what a ghost is?
A ghost?
Oh, you're a ghost.
I don't need to.
With Mr. Watton refusing to give his new address, the agents can't be sure that he's telling the truth about no longer living here. But then, Matt gets handed proof that the dark grey MG isn't Mr. Watton's.
Cheers, sir. Thank you.
Right, just get a copy of that, mate. I'll just take the clamp off it. Right, mate, I'll take it off. You can get gone. The gent now, after some level of discussion, has managed to show me documentation to show that the car doesn't belong to the defendant. So I'll release that now for him and he can get on his way.
20 minutes later, the police arrive.
Here they are, mate.
The agents hope that the police presence will force Mr. Watton to reveal where he now lives.
Morning, officer. How you doing? We initially called this morning. The door was shut in our faces. Unfortunately, we had no other option but to seize the assets that were on site. Two younger men tried to obstruct me in my duty. Managed to get both vehicles clamped. Now, this guy here in the hoodie is our defendant.
Okay.
I've explained the High Court writ to him. He's point blank said, I refuse to pay it. I'm not telling you where I live.
But as Mr. Watton hasn't committed breach of the peace, the police can't force him to divulge his details to them either.
So that's Stephen. What's his surname?
Watton.
You won't tell me. Watton.
With Mr. Watton's true address remaining a mystery, the agents are running out of options. Until proof of the ownership of the other car is established, it remains their only potential asset.
So at the moment, you've clamped that while you do some inquiries?
Yeah, we've asked them for the V5 and the insurance for it. They can't provide it at the minute, so obviously it stays clamped.
Yeah.
Because you never know, this just might be Stephen.
The police make some checks and trace the owner of the clamped Fiesta.
The vehicle does not belong to Watton.
Not decent.
Yeah.
With the second vehicle not belonging to Mr. Watton either, the agent's only option is to instruct the office to trace his new address.
We'll find you in the end, Stephen.
You won't find me.
Of course we will. Debt will always catch up on you. If we go to a certain property and you're not there, then we will put a trace into the office and they'll find a new address for you and we will be knocking on the door.
Today, there's nothing more Matt and Gary can do to enforce the writ. They have no choice but to walk away empty-handed. But Matt has one last word for Mr. Watton.
All I can say to you, buddies, we'll see you somewhere else because it's a live high court writ, all right?
But I'll be dealing with that live high court writ.
And we'll see you then. Okay. Okay, we're all sorted off to you. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Stephen.
There's not a result there for the clients as such at the moment, but it's part of the enforcement process. You know, we have to attend the address at the writ names, and that's what we've done. So we've discounted that address. We can now get on with the next part of the process, and that's finding where Stephen does actually live.
Latest research reveals pubs and bars are increasingly struggling to stay afloat. 1 in 5 experience significant financial distress, with 27 pubs closing every week. Stuart McCracken and Elmore Victor are in Clitheroe, Lancashire, with a writ to recover an unusually large debt of £80,000 owed by Mr. Thomas Woods to a former girlfriend.
£80,000, mate.
Is it 80 now, is it?
£80,189.15.
Stuart has visited Mr. Woods, a hotel owner, on 2 separate occasions, but he hasn't been at home.
Right, oh, there's people outside. It's a good sign. He's in there. He's in there. Brilliant.
Today, it looks like it's third time lucky. But this case will be like no other Stuart and Vic have ever faced.
Let's go. Oh. Hi, mate, you all right? We're after Mr. Woods. Mr. Woods, good morning. My name is Mr. McCracken. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. Here with regards to an outstanding balance on a High Court writ of £80,000.
The plan was to pay her and sell the business.
You need to see what you can do to raise some funds, sir.
What's the date about?
She was my partner,
Right.
and she we fell out a few years ago. Things happened.
Was she in the business with you?
She wasn't in business, no. I was in hospital and she put some money when I was in hospital.
Well, the problem that we've got is we're here to remove goods, so unless the balance is paid.
Yeah, okay, give me a few minutes to go.
Yeah, see what you can do, sir.
Stuart and Vic give Mr. Woods time to raise some funds and start an inventory of assets they could potentially seize.
It's nice, that, isn't it? Beautiful bike.
As well as the vehicles in the garage, the agents find thousands of pounds worth of assets inside the hotel, including fixtures and fittings from the dining areas, a professional kitchen, and 6 bedrooms upstairs. If Mr. Woods doesn't pay today, the removal job will be one of the biggest Stuart and Vic have ever tackled. Down in the bar, the debtor has managed to raise some funds from a friend.
About 5,000 for now.
It's not going to be enough, mate.
No.
It's not.
How much can you raise? If you can raise
Probably, I know I can't, because I have probably £1,000 if I'm lucky.
That's 6. It's not going to be enough, mate. It's not. We're going to have to remove, I'm afraid. With the business, the reality is if we do remove goods, it's going to affect the staff, it's going to affect the business isn't going to be able to trade anymore, which means there isn't going to be an income for the defendant. But it is something that we will have to do if payment isn't made.
After making another call to his friends, Mr. Woods makes the agents another offer.
They can all get money, but it's going to be a few weeks to do.
How long? How long will it take?
So it takes a month to get out, the savings accounts are in.
Okay, so they say they can get it in a month. Will that mean clearing the balance? The whole balance of 80,000 in a
I
month?
like to think so.
Let me see what I can do.
6,000 today, balance cleared by in 30 days.
In 30 days, put it on a controlled goods agreement.
Stuart calls the office to see if the claimant will accept the offer of a £6,000 down payment and the balance cleared within a month.
Hiya, John, you alright?
But the threat of losing the business he's devoted 23 years of his life to is clearly affecting Mr. Woods.
Stress. She's just winding me up now by doing this, you know. She doesn't even need the money. She just been controlling.
Minutes later, Stuart comes back with some news.
What they've said is, okay, you can make the 6,000 today, but we need a payment by Friday of another 4, which will make it 10. Okay, and then it'll be 10,000 for the next 3 weeks, and then the remaining balance by the 4th week. Okay, so it gives you a bit of breathing space. I know 10,000's a lot, but it gives you a bit of breathing space. All right.
Mr. Woods makes the £6,000 down payment and agrees to pay the rest in instalments.
Okay, sir. I'll try and take it easy, Thompson, and we'll get this sorted. All right. If you can do, listen, just ring us and let us know. All right. I think he'll be happy enough with the arrangement anyway. At least we're not closing the business today, which is what we can do. He seems a nice rounded bloke anyway, doesn't he? Yeah. So let's just see he keeps up that repayment.
The case seems to be resolved for now. But 2 weeks later, Stuart and Vic are forced to return.
Mr. Woods?
There could be guns up there.
And face a situation they have never encountered before.
We need immediate police assistance, please.
I will sign it, no problem.
Please. I'm not being in view of that window, not a chance.
High Court enforcement agents Stuart McCracken and Elmore Victor were in Clitheroe, Lancashire, to serve a writ on hotel owner Mr. Thomas Woods, who owed £80,000 to his ex-girlfriend.
We fell out a few years ago, and things happened.
Mr. Woods made a £6,000 down payment.
I'll do my best for that.
And agreed to pay the rest on a payment plan.
At least we're not closing the business today. Seems a nice rounded bloke anyway, doesn't he? So let's just see he keeps up that repayment.
But now, 2 weeks has passed.
Just hasn't bothered, has he, since our last visit?
Basically, communication has just broken down from his side.
The deadline for the first instalment Mr. Woods agreed to has come and gone. So Stuart and Vic have no choice but to return and clear the hotel of its assets.
But you've made a magic call to the removal company.
Well, it is unfortunately D-Day.
A removal van has already arrived at the premises, and a freight lorry is on its way in case Mr. Woods can't pay.
All right, guys, you all right?
But first, Stuart and Vic need to speak to Mr. Woods to see if he can make any payment to stop the recovery action.
Hello?
No one appears to be in. But because Mr. Woods has defaulted on his payments and signed a controlled goods agreement, the agents are now entitled to force entry and have a locksmith on hand.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Woods? The heating's on. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
I don't think he's here, mate.
Shall we go upstairs, mate?
Mr. Woods? Hello? Oh. Oh.
What?
Oh, that's a bloody deer. I don't think he's in, mate.
Hello? Mr. Woods?
Right, so done a sweep, there's no one in.
The dog is still here. It's not a good day, is it?
Beck.
Hello.
Car's here. Do you find it weird as cars and bikes are still here and...
With his car in the garage, the agents are now suspicious that Mr. Woods is still somewhere on the premises. They go back into the hotel to investigate further. And this time, they find a locked door.
We're going to open the door with the locksmith, sir. You want to open the door and come out?
Let's get the locksmith on it. Hiya, mate. Let's get it cracked open. Yeah, let's just get it cracked open. You what, sorry?
Minutes later, the locksmith returns with some alarming news.
Right.
As I opened it, as I was coming down the stairs, I heard something. It sounded like a key turning.
Are you sure?
Let's go find out.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's go find out. Shall I go first? Hello, Mr. Woods. You want to discuss the matter? Look. Yeah. I think we need some assistance here, Stuart.
The agents are suspicious that Mr. Woods is behind the door, but they're unsure of his frame of mind. Stuart and Vic are now in an unpredictable situation.
We need to fear the worst. He could be a hunter. There could be guns up there. Dear God, I wouldn't want anyone to walk in and then be on the other side of a shotgun. Hello, we need immediate police assistance, please. I'm at the Copy Nook Hotel in Clitheroe. There's a gentleman that's locked upstairs in a bedroom and not making any noise whatsoever, but keeps locking the door as we try to open it. We've just got a fear that with the taxidermy stuff here, could have guns up there. It's better to be safe than sorry. Something eerie going on, isn't there, Vic? If it's all fine with you, I'm going to go and stand behind this shed. I'm not being in view of that window, not a chance.
If someone is at the end of their line, you don't know what's going through their mind. What I do know is from looking around me, this guy's a world-class hunter. There's taxidermy everywhere. Yes, am I nervous? Am I fearing my own life? Definitely.
Half an hour later, an armed response unit arrives on the scene.
Please.
And the locked door is forced open.
At this stage, the police has asked us to stay down while they go upstairs and try and negotiate with Mr. Woods to come out of, if it is him in the room, or whoever's in the room. No one?
The police find Mr. Woods hiding in his private living quarters.
Does he look sound of mind?
Yeah, it's just
get it on.
Yeah.
I need to ask him a question.
Before the agents start to remove assets, Vic wants to give Mr. Woods one last chance to settle his debt.
Mr. Woods, can you make a payment today, sir? Okay, it's fine. I'll leave you, sir. No one wants to see a grown man sitting in a corner of a room. You can see it's his darkest hour. You know, it's not a great feeling. But the reality is, he had so many opportunities before it got to D-Day. Various phone calls, various visits. We can only do so much.
Now Stuart and Vic must start the enormous task of seizing goods to cover Mr. Woods' £80,000 debt.
Rapid then.
Yeah, it is rapid.
But as they step into Mr. Woods' private living room, they make an astonishing discovery.
Wow. Oh my God. Wow.
A collection of rare exotic taxidermy decorates the walls, which could fetch thousands of pounds at auction. The agents call in the auctioneer, who's here to value the assets of the hotel.
Yeah.
Oh. Didn't expect that, did you?
No.
This in the south end we don't see.
No, well, it's not stuff we see either.
But hearing the agents talking about his precious collection finally brings Mr. Woods out of his bedroom.
Hello then, Tommy, alright? Have you got any plans on going anywhere after here? Are you staying here or...?
I don't know, I wonder, honestly. My life's upside down because of somebody.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, yeah.
You tell me what I should do. What should I do?
No. I don't know.
It's gone.
Yeah. Take it you've been all over the world then?
And she came with me.
Really?
What are you taking now? You got the stuff from downstairs. What else are you taking?
Kitchen, bar, table, chairs, glasses, everything, basically.
Down there. Yeah. So what are you doing up here?
All these will be going. Obviously, all the other taxidermists, it's in the office and downstairs and things like that. That's pretty much it, to be honest, Brendan.
Take me dog. I'll go take dog if you want.
Did you try and... I mean, I know it's too late now, but, you know, it's just... I knew you were going to ask your mother and friends, etc., to try and help you.
I can get so much, but it's not going to be enough, is it?
The auctioneer and the recovery team start the delicate task of removing Mr. Wood's taxidermy collection.
Hello there, are you okay?
Minutes later, two of Mr. Woods' friends arrive.
Yeah, no problem at all. He's upstairs in the middle bedroom if you'd like to go and see him.
With the downstairs rooms completely cleared and the valuable taxidermy seized, the removal is almost complete. But before the agents go, Mr. Wood's friend wants to speak with Vic.
Hello.
Hi.
Don't want him to be here on his own tonight.
Yeah.
I think he's in a very bad state.
Yeah.
I think he's living in a world that he doesn't know, and he can't believe it's happening.
Of course, it's not a nice thing.
No, it's not a nice thing.
Mr. Wood's friends decide to stay. Satisfied that Mr. Woods is being looked after, the police leave the premises. After 11 hours, the job is complete, and Mr. Woods has lost almost everything.
I personally believe he gave up a long time ago. He obviously realized that there was no way for him to pay this debt. He was waiting for this day. He knew it was going to happen. I've learned in this job you can't take the cases personal. But obviously we're all human beings. I will definitely remember this case for a very long time. That's it.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Over 40,000 county court judgments were issued against businesses in the first half of 2016, totalling nearly £150 million. The average value now exceeds £3,500, and it's small businesses who've been hardest hit. After an emotionally draining case, Stuart and Vic are back on the road again, this time in Manchester.
Well, Vic, it's cold, it's wet, it's windy.
They're on their way to a garage to collect £2,000 owed to an unhappy customer dissatisfied with a faulty car.
Not a bad day to go visit a Top Gear Motors.
Top Gear Motors? So how much does this guy owe then?
£2,025.
The agents have arrived at the address on the writ.
That is it, mate.
But the company seems to have changed its name to Fast Fix Auto Service Centre.
Completely different name. We will go in.
Well, which can be deceiving. Hopefully it's got a load of cars sat there with Top Gear Motors written all over it.
But then Stuart spots a sign outside.
There you go, mate. Top Gear Motors Auto Service Centre.
Top Gear Motors, yeah. You are 100% right, my friend. Let's do this.
With evidence the debtor company could still be trading at this address, the agents need to locate the director of the business, Mr. Sakid Wahid.
Hi guys, you alright? We're after Top Gear Motors. We're High Court enforcement agents. We're after Mr. Wahid, Sakid Wahid.
It's not Top Gear anymore.
Right, your signing says different.
Well, I don't know anything about it. I'm just a receptionist. This is a new company.
Yeah.
Yeah. This Top Gear is not here anymore.
But we can see signage that proves otherwise. Have you got council tax bill, business rates? Just to prove obviously this place is obviously trading under that name.
We need to change name.
About a month ago, maybe.
Well, the process that we've got, guys, is that if you don't show us any proof, the goods will be removed.
Unless payment's made.
While Stuart gives the man some time to look for proof that the company has changed hands, he hunts for more evidence that the business is still trading as Top Gear Motors.
Hiya, mate, you alright?
Finding an open office, Stuart starts to investigate.
Top Gear, when was that done?
Top Gear Motors.
It was done 13 days ago.
And who's the defendant? Mr. S. Wahid. Issuer's name, Mr. Wahid.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
He's the MLT guy. I'll do it. Right. Let's go and explain this to our friend.
Me and Stuart as a team, we love playing detective because they'll tell you one story and after a 20-minute walk around you'll come back with a file that thick with all the evidence we need. And I love that part of the job. It makes me get out of bed.
The recent MOT certificate issued by Mr. Wahid on behalf of Top Gear Motors suggests that they are still trading from the address. The agents turn up the pressure.
You want to come inside and explain this paperwork? Right, you said that Mr. Wahid isn't here anymore?
No, he's not here.
No, right, okay. MLT certificate. Mr. S. Wahid, Top Gear Motors. Mr. S. Wahid, Top Gear Motors.
13 days
so
ago.
He's either not here or you're committing fraud by using an MLT certificate.
We're not frauding it. He's not here at the moment.
Right, he's not here at the moment?
No, he just...
No, you said he left. You said he left.
He left, but sometime he comes to do the MOTs here.
Right, with all due respect, sir, you must think I was born yesterday.
Despite the evidence, the man is still denying the garage is responsible for the debt. It will take all of Stuart and Vic's tenacity to get the £2,000 they came for. Stuart McCracken and Elmore Victor were in Manchester, collecting a £2,000 debt owed by a garage.
We're after Top Gear Motors.
Well, I don't know anything about it. This is a new company.
Staff claimed Top Gear Motors were no longer trading on the premises, but Stuart found evidence to the contrary.
Top Gear Motors.
It was done 13 days ago.
But the man they met continued to insist the garage was being run by a new company.
No, he's not here.
No, right, okay. With all due respect, sir, you must think I was born yesterday.
Now, Stuart must make the man understand that he has enough evidence to collect the £2,000 debt here today.
Okay. There's MLT certificates there that says that he's still here. He's obviously the MLT conductor for this site. So if we do remove goods from here today, we'll be removed under Top Gear Motors.
The agents have enough proof to show that Top Gear Motors are still trading here. Now, the man reveals that he knows about the debt, but he says he has nothing to do with the car, which led to the dispute.
Guys sent the letter to us and I replied them, we never sold you the car, we have nothing to do with you, we never sold the car, we never got a single penny out of you.
Despite the man's claims that the garage had nothing to do with the debt, the agents are duty-bound to enforce the writ here today.
We got a writ executed today right? So either we're going to get that balance paid in full, or we're going to seize goods for 7 days. You can then go to court to prove that it doesn't belong to Top Gear Motors, but Top Gear Motors' name is on here.
And where is the company at the moment?
Here.
No, it's not here.
Let's stop going around the bush now. What's the address there? Okay, is it here?
Yeah.
What's the name on top of it?
Top Gear Motors.
Top Gear Motors?
Yes.
What does it say on your writ?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Yeah.
Top Gear Motors.
Yeah. Cool down.
No, but I mean,
Don't
we're going round in circles here,
Don't
mate.
raise your voice. Cool down.
So at the moment,
Going over and over the same thing.
At the moment,
Please,
sir.
if you come outside here, we'll sort it out. Come outside.
Yeah, no, it's fine, so I'll stay here until you get it sorted out,
Please
sir, because
come
I've got an
outside,
inventory
yeah.
to do.
Please come
I'll be
outside.
staying here. Until you get this payment sorted, I'll be staying here, and I'll also be doing an inventory of goods.
The agents have been at the garage for half an hour. Then, suddenly, the man makes an extraordinary accusation.
I lost my £2,000 here. It was my £2,000 here.
Yeah.
Where's my £2,000 gone?
I don't know.
It was here.
No, it wasn't.
In the
sir.
till.
Really?
Yeah, well,
Yes,
check
yes.
the till.
Yeah. Why you took the look is empty now? It was £2,000.
Sadly, don't stop messing about and call me a liar, alright? So, I'm not going anywhere, alright? But the fact of the matter is, I've got an inventory to do if you can't pay it. If you pay it, I'll go. Simple as that. We do see a cycle of tactics that defendants use to try and get out of paying the debt or even telling the truth. They'll go through the lies first, then it'll be the friendly approach, and then it'll be the emotional approach, and then it'll be the anger approach. We see it every day, and it's a common tactic that they use.
With no signs of payment, Stuart turns up the pressure again.
In 5 minutes, if payment isn't made, it goes up to how much, Vic?
£2,665.
We will be seizing goods. I'll be disconnecting the computer.
Also, what I'm saying is, if whatever money's paid today is held for 14 days.
We can go back, claim the money back here. We can go back to the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, I'll give you the money. I'm going to arrange you the money.
Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. There you go, mate.
With the threat of his business assets being seized, the man now backs down and agrees to pay.
Defendants will throw all sorts of smoke screens at us to try and get away with paying a debt that's rightfully owed. But once they've realised they've used all their excuses, they then think, right, well, I need to get this sorted as quickly as possible, because the last thing they want is the business being affected.
You are not the first bailiff here. I've done so many bailiffs here, but nothing like you.
I call enforcement, not a bailiff.
Arrange the money, okay? Don't have with me now.
It's a cash.
Cash, yeah.
Have you not got a business card to pay on?
No money in the card.
Okay.
After claiming that Saeed Waheed, the director of Top Gear Motors, no longer had anything to do with the business, the man finally gets him on the phone.
Saqib is on the phone, yes. I said, take the £1,000 over the phone, and I'm trying to bring the £1,000 cash, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Waheed agrees to pay half the debt on his debit card, and the man and his colleagues make up the balance in cash.
Is it 600? Yeah, it's going to bring 400.
Okay, let me count the 600 so long.
Yeah.
Here's the 1,000. 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 53 pence. So we need 1,000 on the machine.
Yeah. Let's suck it here.
Okay. Hello. Is it a debit card, sir? What's the last 4 numbers? Right, so I'll pass you back over to the gentleman, all right?
There you go, sir. So I'll leave you to go on the rest of your day, sir. Have a good day.
With payment in full, the case is finally closed.
Whoa. Another job well done, that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You don't want to get your hair wet, do you?
No, I don't want to get a cold, on top of a cold.
Gentleman behind the counter trying to pull wool over our eyes, saying that company's gone, but the signage outside was first alarm bells, wasn't it?
Yeah. The thing is that we love business like that because they're actually things you can take, and they know it.